And so everybody knows that Q4 is for ecom, but Q1 is for info business owners. And that's because everybody is leveraging that new year energy. And what that means is people are either trying to lose weight, trying to be happier, or trying to get rich. And the biggest name in the game when it comes to info businesses is Iman Gadzhi. Every time Q1 comes around, he consistently does 8 figures with his info products, and there's really nobody who's able to keep away from his ads that you see all over the place, whether it's YouTube, Meta, Google, whatever it may be. You probably have seen something along the lines of his offer, but I've also been looking at the releases he does periodically throughout the year, and there's one thing that I always notice. He's basically selling the exact same product every single time for a mid-ticket price, and he's always generating millions. And here's the crazy part. His customers are really not complaining. So what this means is that either Iman discovered some kind of mind trick, or there's a strategy here that majority of business owners are completely missing. I spent some time breaking this down, and honestly, it's one of the smartest models I've ever seen. Let me show you how it works. All right, guys, so I'm going to be breaking down Iman's 8-figure annual money machine. And I'm saying this because every time Q1 rolls around, it seems like he's able to print flawlessly, effortlessly, and even through his quarterly releases. I'm saying quarterly because usually it's 4 or 5 different times a year where he launches a new product or announces a new ownership in a company or whatever. So let's just call it the 8-figure annual money machine. And I mentioned earlier that he has somehow cracked the code, right? And honestly, he's been selling the same products for years and making millions with one small tweak every year. And if you look at his YouTube and Instagram here, obviously it is a huge following, almost 6 million subscribers on this account and 2.5 on this account. He does mention that he's now the owner of consulting.com. This was a recent acquisition, and he's also a co-owner in WAP, which happened earlier in 2025. Also mentions his eyewear brand, Hills. What he does is every single time he comes out with a new product, it seems like it's every 2-3 months, and it's just a little twist on what he already has, but packaging it in a way that makes it look new. And some people with their offers, they do this on a maybe every year or maybe every 2-year basis within their offers. Like, let's just say they change it up a little bit, reevaluate, make a 2.0 version of it. But it seems like every 2-3 months, Iman is able to come up with something to refresh or reestablish his actual name in the space. So here are just some examples, right? Agency Accelerator. I believe this was, I don't even know when this was, probably like 2023 or something like that. Monetize, which was early 2025, and the Make Money Online Challenge, you can see this was 2025 also, from April 27th through May 1st here. And so this year as well, we've seen a lot more people go back to the webinar style funnel where they get people to join in a live webinar. For Iman, he has done it where it happens over a 5-day period. And within that 5-day period, you need to go ahead and watch the whole video because there are certain little pieces of information that you need to go ahead and move on to the next steps. And so how does he really do it, right? So every year he leverages New Year energy. And what this means is he knows that people are looking for New Year's resolutions, whether it's to lose weight, make more money or whatever, and he plugs himself as the solution to this. And you can definitely see that within his marketing as well. If you see any of his ads, he targets age, he targets skill set, he targets if you're broke or whatever. And you'll oftentimes see videos such as if you're between the ages of 18 to 25 and you know you have a skill set, but you just don't know how to go ahead and use it, and you want to make money online, then this is for you. It's kind of like that thing where he just plugs himself as the solution every single time, but he's able to do it where he's just recycling it, adding something new every single time. And at the end of the day, it's really easy for him to sell because he has such a big personal brand and he's like, the guy in the space. And so let's take a deeper look into what is actually happening, right? So let's just say year 1, he starts out, he has product A, he sells that for $1,000. Year 2, he has product B as the newcomer and product A as the bonus and still selling it for $1,000. Year 3, he has product C and B and A, but now B and A are the bonuses. And again, same price, but more value. And so if we actually move on to see what is happening, this is what it looks like year by year. So let's just say he started out with year 1 and that was his first product at $1,000. Year two, he comes up with a new product, product B, makes that the star child, and product A from last year becomes a bonus, still the same price. And year three, now he has product C as the star child, and then B and A are bonuses with the same price. But now it's just perceived value that, it's a lot more than what it is, even though it's basically the exact same thing. And when you look at all the things that Iman actually has released within the last few years, they all fall into three categories, right? So one, they fall into the tool category. Two, they fall into the info product category. And three, they fall under a platform or just like a SaaS, software as a service. And it starts to make sense at the end of the day. When you look at all of his releases or launches that he does throughout the year to promote his products, all of it really just leads up to using the platform, because the platform is the moneymaker, right? It's going to be where they spend the most of the time because it has all the tools and the info products on it. So very similarly, you can see a bunch of the tools that I'm going to mention on these platforms and a bunch of the info products as well. So I have just a plethora of the products that Iman has put out within the last few years here, and I'm just going to sort them out just so you understand how this is being positioned. For example, Flowzy is a platform that is much like Go High Level. It's kind of touted as the all-in-one workspace so that someone can manage their business, also create different digital products on there. And that's why I say it's kind of like a Go High Level type of platform. You can also do like messaging. It's like a CRM system, whatever. Let's see. Synthesis AI is an AI tool to create digital products. Ghostwriter OS, similar to Synthesis AI, but Ghostwriter is just like a copywriter tool. The Shadow Operator Playbook, this has been the latest release within Iman's arsenal here. So it's been released Q1 of 2026 as of recording this video, and it's an info product basically talking about growth operating, but he packages it as shadow operating, basically leveraging AI to go ahead and create an agency where you can help other creators or businesses grow. And then the one thing, this is also an info product based around personal branding. And so the one thing was released in Q1 of 2025, and Monetize followed up right behind it. I think this was either February or March when Monetize got released. It goes hand in hand with the one thing because it's also about personal branding, mostly talking about how to make money from your online presence. Agency Accelerator. I believe this is an info product as well, because it's some sort of course regarding how to run your agency. We have WAP, obviously came up this year. Iman is now a co-owner in it. I'm not sure how the deal is worked out where he's the co-owner. Most likely it's like an affiliate deal. And with Digital Launchpad, I believe it is a platform as well as educate. So I would definitely say some of these fall into the category of one or the other, or maybe multiple. So like WAP, obviously it's a tool because there's like WAP clipping. You can also use it as a payment processor, but it can fall into platform or tool. Educate is kind of Flowzy is kind of the same thing too, because Flowzy is kind of like that Go High Level kind of tool platform. So you'll spend a lot of time on it. You can run CRMs, but like I said, you can also consider that a tool as well if you want. But these are just some of the actual products that he has released. And each time he has released these, he's done a general big launch for that product, with everything else being on the back burner as bonuses. So at the end of the day, you are actually getting, a lot as far as what he has to offer. And the packaging is just really nice that it's like an all-in-one solution for whoever is trying to start up in the info product businesses or the info businesses. And so let's talk about why this actually works, right? So the price to value scale will always have more value because of all the things that he has built throughout the years. And this isn't by accident as well. He knew that at some point he wasn't going to be able to sell the info products or the services anymore. So what did he do? He turned to software, he turned to tools so that people can consistently use whatever he's going to offer and use it on a consistent basis for their businesses. And he also does this by packaging it in a 12-month subscription so that, you get it all for 12 months, one-time payment, super good deal. And obviously he makes it so that the stack looks a lot better at that $1,000 price, or maybe it's a little bit more than $1,000. Obviously he'll mention that, hey, this is worth 500 for the whole year, $1,000, blah, blah, blah. And it'll end up being a perceived value of whatever, $4,000, and he's packaging it for 1,500, So tons of tools that are being in place here. And I will say what he does as well is if you do buy a certain, launch of a tool or whatever, you do get the actual releases that are coming within the next few months. So like, let's just say you were there for the one thing, right? Early 2025, then you wouldn't have to buy again to access Monetize. You wouldn't have to buy again to access Synthesis AI or Ghostwriter that came next. Those things would already be given to you as bonuses. So essentially, like I said, you're paying to use the platform, and the platform hosts all these tools and info products that you will have access to in the long run. And so the price to value scale will always have more value because of the endless tools that are going to be dropping. And you know that when you are getting into the kind of ecosystem that Iman is building, you are going to get at least like 3 new drops, maybe a few new tools a year, maybe a new platform. And so that does a few things, right? The value goes up and the price stays, or it gains slightly. So this is what it looks like, right? Year 1, this is value, not price. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. And by the end of year 5, there's so much built up from previous years as far as like the tools, software, that it's almost like a no-brainer to go ahead and say, let me get this. And so to bring it back to the whole idea of why this works, the main new product is always the star, and the older products come later as bonuses. And so this is the latest drop here. I guess he's kind of marketing it as Monetize because this is the platform where you will build profitable online businesses using AI. You show the value with 21 apps included. As you can see, Ghostwriter is one of them. Synthesis AI is one of them. And I'm pretty sure these are just a bunch of different tools. Looks like a messaging tool, could be Flowzy, whatever, with a one-time payment of about $2K US. That's all in one payment here. And so why is it not a scam, right? Well, it's not a scam because early buyers are getting the first access to everything. Everything that's coming in, if you have that little edge where in your market it's not being used yet, and Iman is able to use those to his advantage to maybe create a little burst in the market, right? Where nobody's using it, you would be able to get a client a lot earlier than someone else because I guess you have this new tool. And I will say the new content that he's putting out is genuinely new, especially towards him. I know that a lot of people mention, okay, Iman, he kind of copies off other people, but even if he copies off other people, he doesn't necessarily need to do too much because how he's going to package it is so different as to how other people are doing it. And he does it in such a way that it looks a lot more professional, if that makes sense. So new content is genuinely new. Old content / tools still work, such as the AI tools. He's very transparent about his positioning as well. He's opened up a ton about how he stepped away from info products as his main source. And really these tools or info products that he drops occasionally all lead back to his software. He makes it so simple to explain to his audience that it's easy as like 4 steps, right? So find a creator, reach out, create the product using his tools or whatever, and then launch with that user. So it seems very low friction that people would be like, hey, let me try this out. $1,000 is $1,000. Obviously, it's a big enough investment to make it seem like, okay, I'm going to try something new and I'm going to put my money towards it. But it's low enough to where someone as a maybe 17-year-old or 18-year-old, they'll have the funds to go ahead and pay that $1,000, $2,000 because it's not too far out of reach, if that makes sense. And that's the kind of audience that he's catering to anyways. And so you can see how he's packaging so many tools into kind of like one launch, right? So this is just from the Q1 of 2026. He has Consulting Accelerator, webinar only. You will have access to 100 pre-vetted creators once you join. You're going to be able to use Flowzy for your CRM kind of tool. You'll have access to Ghostwriter OS, which is the copywriting tool. Synthesize AI creates digital products. Monetize, personal branding kind of thing. Also, Monetize Mania, it's kind of like their award system where if you use their tools and you hit a certain amount with their tools, you will be invited to events or you'll win different prizes and things like that. I know with the Make Money Online challenge that they had last year, they gave away a McLaren. So that's one of the things there. And then these are some of the things that they just, I guess, released. A consulting.com certificate, kind of like an award, and then the Shadow Operator Playbook, which is the info product. And so obviously Iman is able to do this at such a high level because of his big following. But if you were to replicate this for yourself, you could still do it at a small scale. Obviously, you might not see the numbers like Iman does, but here are the things that you should do and what you should avoid, right? So the 4 core principles is add 1 new component yearly. I would say yearly because if you're smaller, it's kind of harder to launch multiple times a year. It gets a little bit confusing to people as far as like, okay, what you're known for and things like that. Iman, it's a little bit different because he implements a lot of software and tools as opposed to like info products. And so 2, reframe old content as bonuses. So let's just say you have a service-based business that you've been running and now you want to launch a consulting offer where you help people who are in the same position as you. You can reframe your old service business as a tool to go ahead and add as a bonus to what you're trying to teach with that consulting business. So if you have some kind of tool that helped people manage clients, add that in as a bonus. It seems a lot more valuable. 3, you want to definitely keep the price stable. You don't want to jump it up too much. I would definitely say you can jump it up a lot if the value matches. But if it's something where you're just adding a small little change, but still having the core of what you're selling be the same thing as last year, I would say, keep the price definitely stable or around the same ballpark. And 4, you have to maintain quality across your whole stack, right? So build once, sell forever, but make sure that things still work. And what you want to really avoid is having year 2 be way too similar to year 1, ignoring previous buyers by not, showing up for them or under delivering, letting old content get outdated. You want to make sure everything still works, even if it's, being recycled. And so lastly, you don't want to overcomplicate the stack. You want every tool, every info product, every platform to work with each other in unison. You don't necessarily want to have 2 of the exact same things because they're not going to see the value of it. And so once you understand these 4 core principles, you should be able to reframe your offer so it has a slight change or a fresh new face to cater to new audiences. And lastly, if you want to check out the full funnel of how Iman is able to make this 8 figures annually, I have a video for that. Go ahead and check it out there. And if you want me to show you how I can help you make more money in your info businesses, feel free to DM me on Instagram down below. Peace.